But what do you say to the people, the cynics, the people who would look at the psychedelic experiences and say, okay, you are glorifying and you're over-exaggerating what's essentially a hallucination. Your visual cortex is being bombarded with these foreign chemicals. You're seeing things that aren't there. And all this is just your brain's need to make something profound out of what's essentially a malfunction of your thinking, a malfunction of your visuals, and you've sort of attached all this importance to it after the experience is over.
Well,
that's the cynical point of view.
Yeah,
right?
That's the cynical point of view. But to that, I would reply that, what we call ordinary reality, ordinary consciousness, even consensus reality, is essentially a hallucination. I mean, right? The reason drugs work is because we're made of drugs. And whether or not we're on drugs or not, our brains are creating, this reality, which we know does not resemble the real world, whatever that is. I mean, the instruments of our physics and so on tell us that the world is a quantum world. It's full of vibration. It doesn't look anything like this.
And that atoms are essentially mostly hollow.
A lot of what our brain does is synthesize a hallucination, essentially, create a model of the world that we proceed to live in. I mean, the world that you and I share and everyone shared, this is a model of the world. This is a model reality, not the real reality. The real reality is completely unknowable and will always remain so. So for people to say, well, you've disturbed your brain chemistry in a novel way and you've tuned into a different channel, essentially, but you're still working with a model, whether it's a model of the world experienced through the lens of a drug or whether it's experienced through the lens of, sober conscious perception. It's still a biochemical artifact in a sense. Our brains create this. We live inside of it, and that's so that's what I would say to those people, that it's not that there is some kind of objective reality which we're immersed in when we're not on drugs. It's more that we're on drugs all the time. Our brain is a organ that happens to churn out drugs, which we call neurotransmitters and hormones, and that's what our brains run on. So all you do when you take an external drug is you tweak one or more of those sets of receptors that the neurons are talking to, and you get a slightly distorted signal from what we have come to accept as ordinary reality. There is no ordinary reality, or we don't know what it is. It's forever unknowable in terms of our subjective experience.